Okay, first I say all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Hashem, El Shaddai, Hashem, Gakadash. And the devil said, "This person teach you, great medicine of my line of shoot." And I say, Shalom to the whole full of Israel. I'll send this around how weapons won't really, they're in Jacob's trouble. Weapons won't do anything to protect you. Whether you're a prepper, whether you're an Israelite who think that, training is going to help, or gathering a bunch of weapons to you. Hell, Esau isn't going to survive this. But weapons, especially when it comes to our people, weapons are not going to do anything for our people. When it comes to Jacob trouble and and surviving that, and all these things that happen, it's all the words of Yahweh Shema Shai. It's all happened, and there's nothing that any of us can or could do about the events that's going on throughout the earth. There's nothing that any human could do can speak against the word of the Lord. It's that's the order. That's how things are. That's reality. Just like how people were upset at the economy. See, there's a certain way the economy works. We go into presidents, right? When the president gets elected in office, there's already a certain style of things, certain style that, a certain way that they conduct themselves, certain things that they do, certain things that they can't do. And it doesn't matter if they genuinely want to help the people. The niggas who put up the order of the government, or whoever the fuck you want to call them, didn't order the government in such a way that it would help people. Like, for example, if the niggas who control America want, 100% taxes on everything for Americans, the president can't just say, no, I'm not going to do that. Same thing with the word of the Lord. If there's somebody, like you have this right here. To Luke 12 and 18, 16. Going to how you have guys like that think like this, that talk about buying land, storing riches, prepping. But scriptures talk about how riches are, not going to save in the day of wrath. All of your supplies, it's not going to do anything for you. That's how the Lord had it. This is Luke 12 and 16. He spake a parable of them, saying, the ground of a certain rich man brought forth plentifully. And he thought within himself, saying, what shall I do? Because I have no room where to bestow my fruits. So he had an overflow of crops, of fruits, more than what he needed in the moment. He said, this will I do. I'll pull down my barns and build greater, and there I'll bestow all my fruits and my goods. And I'll say to my soul, thou hast much goods laid up for many years. For, again, prepping. And there will I bestow all my fruits and my goods. And I will say to my soul, thou hast much goods laid up for many years. Take thine ease, eat, drink, and be merry. So, just paralleling that with how you have guys that will prep, right? Because like you have movies like The Road, where the guy who prepped that bunker at the end of the movie, he ended up fucking dying somewhere, but then somebody else found it. You're going to have that same thing going on. But, just to point out and to get is that, you have people that will try to hedge themselves against Jacob's trouble. Now, there's nothing wrong with getting extra supplies, but the thing here is that this guy had all of his faith in his goods and his supplies. Same thing with these prepping Americans. They have all their faith that their supplies are going to save them, that their money is going to save them. But as you can see, even at this very moment, all of that is collapsing. And once again, the Lord talked about how all this stuff would happen. But just like with this, but Yahweh said unto him, thou fool, this night thy soul shall be required of thee. Then who shall those things be which thou hast provided? And it's going into, once again, not putting your faith in the things on the earth, but in the Lord. But when the Lord already... Like it, no matter what people try to do to try to hedge themselves against prophecies, it's going to happen no matter what they do. And, just an example with this guy had all, he had all these things, he had all these supplies, and the Lord ended up taking his life. It doesn't matter. This is just a parable, by the way. But once again, it's an example of how people think and once again, the word of the Lord is going to happen, whether you try to hedge yourself against the destruction or not. And in the case with our people, you got some niggas that will try to get guns, or maybe in the military, they'll try to hedge themselves against the so-called white man. But if it's slated for you to die, no matter what you store up, no matter what you do, no matter how many skills you gather to yourself, you're going to die. That's just how it works. It's like our people going into captivity. Doesn't matter how much our people may have denied it, how much they don't like it. They went into fucking captivity. And the Lord is the only one. There's nobody else that the Lord didn't ordain. Like there was nobody in our history that the Lord didn't ordain to get us out of captivity. Like there's some just random dude that went under the radar of the Lord to say, you know what, I'm gonna stand up against this and get us out of captivity. You had instances like that with during the slave revolts, but what happened? It wasn't time, and they ended up getting fucking hung. Genesis 27:41. And even when you want to go into that, our people were trying to fight the so-called white man with something that he was blessed in. Which, when you go into sports or even esports, like professional video gaming, right? There's certain weaknesses and certain advantages that you may have, certain weaknesses that you want to take advantage of your opponent, certain strengths your opponent may have. Say, well, I'm not really into sports like that, more so play video games. But let's say Call of Duty, right? Everybody knows about Call of Duty. Let's say you got a team of niggas and you have one nigga who's sitting back in a cut, who's a fucking sniper. His specialty is sitting back and picking out niggas, and he's damn fucking good at it. That's his strength, long range. When you get to close, if somebody pulls up on the dude, he starts fucking panicking. Because in his arsenal, all he has is the sniper rifles and probably, like a fucking knife that the game puts you with. But once again, when you go, our blessing, our gift, our specialty is not weaponry. It's the spiritual. It's this. The Lord talked about how nobody's going to be able to pretty much overcome you in reference to defending the truth that the Spirit of the Lord is with you. And that's going to translate to the physical world as well. But Esau will try to come up against us in the scriptures, and you see plenty of examples day in and day out. The brothers posting videos of Esau, Edomites getting fucking smashed in the scriptures. They can't do anything against us in the scriptures. We can't do anything against them with physical weaponry. And Esau hate, and another point I want to bring out is how our people, the brother actually corrected me on this. Our people have been in slavery for over 500 years, because you had the 350 where we were in captivity, but then you have the extra 100, probably more than that, more than 500, extra like hundreds of years that the Latin tribes were in captivity when Esau came over here before the southern tribes got over here. And our people were here throughout Esau's development of kinetic weaponry, firearms. Our people were over here throughout that whole time. So and even when you go into the slave revolts, right, our people still got their asses handed to them. For all you niggas who want to think about who you're going to fight against a so-called white man who has fucking lasers, this nigga can drop, I think it's tungsten steel rod from the sky. It's not even a fucking missile. It's just a rod that satellites are holding up in outer space. They can drop it from the sky and blow your whole fucking city up. Not even the missile, just a fucking and the kinetic forces built up throughout the gravitational pull. If it flowing down through the atmosphere, the heat that it builds up, it's something like the explosion is something like a fucking mini nuke. But he can drop a piece of metal out the sky and vaporize your fucking city. This nigga, all of the things that he create, like for example, I'm looking at a computer right now. We went from fucking sticks and stones to an electronic screen that shows you images. And like you have Wi-Fi, these devices pick up on these electric magnetic waves or whatever the fuck this shit is called, and they generate images onto this device, on which they turned fucking sticks and stones and metal and minerals and raw materials into fucking digital data on a computer. How the fuck do you compete with that? You don't. On your own, you can't compete with that. The amount of brain power, because you ever done coding, right? How do you turn metal into digital fucking coding that you can't physically touch? That the Lord gave, and like all this is really in the development of his weaponry. But the Lord gave this nigga the ability to do this shit. So how do you fight that? The average nigga can't even manage his pocketbook correctly. And how the fuck do you want to go against Orc? See, Esau's a piece of shit. All these other heathen countries, Esau's military is in the fucking shitter. But the one thing he has is his technology. That's like his weaponry, his sword. That's the last thing he has left. But for as fucking shitty as Esau's military is, the Lord still gave him the ability to come as far as he did. And how much more these Jakes who bro, they're stuck in a social strata. All these niggas, they're stuck at fucking Walmart, at these damn factories. They don't know how to make more. They don't even know how to increase their own income. Yet they want to talk about trying to go head to head against the nigga who rules the world. It doesn't make sense. But you have Jake that are just gung ho and what's that? Hopped up on adrenaline. But you see plenty times in these damn YouTube videos where Jake will try to act tough, but then when he gets grabbed up, he bows his head like a lion. He submits. All that toughness go out the fucking window. All you niggas out there, y'all are really some fucking pussy ass niggas. Because y'all will kill each other, but y'all not going to do that shit against the so-called white man. See, when the so-called white man runs through with a couple of fucking robots, and y'all see a nigga get his spine pulled out through his fucking leg, Jake is going to submit. Because the Lord made the so-called white man a fucking warrior. Every nation has its champions, and they will kick your ass. Esau, obviously we're on top of everything, but the only reason that we are on top, that we were so powerful, is because the Lord was with us. That's the reason why. If the Lord wasn't with us, we end up getting our ass handed to us left, right, and center. And there's nothing our people can do. That's our power. It's not weapons. Weapons alone didn't save us. Hell, look at King David. All these other weapons, he didn't go in there with any. When he fought Goliath, which is I think the brother mentioned she's like 12 feet tall or something like that, 11 to 12 feet tall. And, he wasn't like some tall, lanky Nick. He imagine Broly with dark skin. I think Broly's like 9 feet, but add extra couple feet on there. Broly with dark skin and the sword in his hand. That's the image of Goliath, because Goliath wasn't like some tall, lanky dude. He was a big ass yoked nigga. Like somebody a lot of people ain't really into. I know if people heard of Ronnie Coleman, an 11 foot tall Ronnie Coleman scaled. Y'all know how big them niggas were. Fucking bodybuilding niggas. And David went in there with a slingshot. He didn't go with a sword. He didn't go with any fucking armor. He went in there with a slingshot. That's a great story to show you the power of the Lord. Because like when people think that the Bible is just a story, you have the elder Apostle Bar make sure you have to visualize things. And this happened in real life. In real life, you walk up to a nigga who's like 11 feet, and he looks like a fucking Bane. Think Bane, another example. Bane hopped up on Venom. Cause he big as fuck too. Bane. The DC villain, Bane hopped up on fucking villain. Not the Bane from the Dark Knight movie. I'm talking about the comic Bane. Big as fuck. And you walking up to this nigga, what you think about to happen? What you think going through your head? Everybody else in Israel, like the time, is like, fuck, what do we come to? Nobody wanted to fight him. Because the fear of getting stomped the fuck out. But David, they said he was the smallest of his brothers, but he was strong as fuck too. But that was given to him from the Lord. But we know what did David do? He went up there, he prayed, he had faith in the Lord. And the Lord said how he sunk the stone in his forehead. One shot at Goliath, and that was that. But that shows you the power of Yahweh Shema Shai, of having faith. Because our people have really always been the underdog throughout our history. But what happened? The Lord always brought us through. Well, I'm not going to say always, because there's times with punishment where we had our ass handed to us. But when it comes to the Lord being with our righteous forefathers, He always brought them through. Like apart from punishment. Other than that, like our people alone, we couldn't do it, and we can't do it. That's not how it works. And this so-called white man is Goliath times a million. Because he don't really need muscles. Because like when it comes to fighting, right? Like muscles can only get you so far. You got a nigga that can dislocate your fucking kneecap and your hip at the same time. Muscles really not going to do much. May add some extra padding. And Esau hated Jacob's good blessing where he blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. I'll go back to verse 40. 39. Isaac's father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven from above. So for a certain period of time, Esau was going to get rulership over the world. By the sword thou shalt live, and thou shalt serve thy brother. It shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And that happened. It wasn't under King David. No, I don't think it was under King David. But it was around. I think it was under one of King David's sons, where he had Esau that had revolted. And I think it was one of his descendants, not sons, but his descendants, that where Esau had revolted, where King David had Esau in slavery. Afterwards, he revolted, but it's been a while since I read that. Let me see if I can find out. I don't want to try to change the subject or anything. If I can't find it, I'm just gonna move on. But I don't want to just bring it up or not. It was under King, was it Jeroboam? Slovakia. Second Chronicles 21:18. It's out the way really quick. 8. Second Chronicles 21:6. And he walked 5 in Joram was 32 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 8 years in Jerusalem. And he walked in the way of the kings of Israel, like as did the house of Ahab, for he had the daughter of Ahab, the wife, and he wrought that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. Howbeit the Lord would not destroy the house of David, because the covenant that he had made with David, as he promised to give a light to him and to the sons forever. In his days the Edomites revolted from under the dominion of Judah and made themselves a king. So that's what that's referring to. But it's lucky that took so long. But I'm gonna go to this. Second Kings 16:70. And even now, our people, like just like with 70 AD, our people got fucking swarmed, and there was nothing they could do. And now our people are behind enemy lines. They don't understand actual war tactics. They understand gang culture and gang violence, sliding up on a dude, attacking someone from behind unsuspectedly. What does the average Jake do when they shoot somebody? They shoot and then they run away. That's how niggas fight. If they're fighting with hands, what do? They swing as hard as they can and they hope somebody goes down. When it comes to weapons, they either gang up on the nigga and they shoot at them and then they drive away, or they sneak up on somebody, shoot, and then run away. That's how the average Jake fights. Very few of them will actually walk up and like go head to head and the skills and dive in and ducking behind cars and shit. All that shit is in movies. The average Jake will shoot at you and not even shoot at you and run away. Or if we get into a fight, he'll just start swinging and hope he hits something. And he'll try to overpower you with his fucking punches. Or pick you up and drop you. But that's how Jake fights. Well, that's not even supposed to be fighting, but that's how these niggas fight. The so-called white man, he'll drop a bomb on you. He'll send somebody to stab you from behind. He has actual fucking tactics. The lay, he actually knows the lay of the land. How the weather will affect the direction of a bullet. Pop you from afar. They'll drive tanks. Fucking a whole battalion, a squadron. They have actual fucking, setting shit up. They have actual fucking body. All these different types of warfare, ground warfare. They'll blow a damn fucking dam and flood you out. They have actual strategies. If this doesn't happen, then we move to plan B or plans B or E. Or that doesn't happen, we have this. You have fucking landmines under his house, blows ass up, and all else fails. Esau is organized. He's way more organized than niggas. You shoot at an Edomite, the nigga will, a military Edomite, the nigga will either kill you or chase you the fuck down. Not like when you know hood, you can shoot at a nigga curl up in a ball and then you'll get away. And Edomite he will chase you the fuck down. He'll have a fucking heat-seeking missile. He'll send a drone after you. A drone, a robot. He has too much on his side for you to fight. You'll literally just be overwhelmed by the sheer numbers of the amount of power that he has. Sure, the power itself, but the sheer numbers, because Jake can't compete with that. These niggas are still too busy trying to find their daily bread on survival mode. Esau already has his shit together. Second Kings 16:70. There shall be in every place, and the next sees a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. And what is Trump? Trump's been talking about taking a lot of people's rights in the past few years with this pandemic, and even now, the scope has been on the Negroes, Native Americans, Latinos. That's the scope. Like what's sending military into black communities to keep them safe. What do you think that's going to lead? They've been pushing for specifically Negroes, Native Americans, Latinos to take that jab. The scope has been with our people. And what happened when they pushed for our people to take that jab? What happened? What happened? They fucking folded. A lot of our people fucking folded. So how much more when these niggas come with guns in your fucking faces and fucking stun batons to the back of your fucking skulls? In reality, the average Jake who thinks he's tough is really a bitch because he's used to a certain level of violence. You know, he's used to, having to watch his back in the hood. He ain't used to a fucking rope, a squadron of death bots fucking coming through. This is curfew, stay in your house. Nigga want to come out, he'll get his fucking arm yanked off and then beat him to death with it. And the reason why it's going to get violent. There's going to be violence beyond what you could comprehend. Niggas are about to fucking die. The scriptures mention how Esau doesn't hate blood. The so-called white man loves blood. He loves to shed blood. Jake, you got some Jake that have seen niggas got killed. Okay, sure. You got some Jake that have seen some crazy shit, Jake in the military. But the average Jake who thinks he's tough, I remember a couple years, not even a couple years ago, a while ago, 6-7 years ago. Yeah, maybe 6-7 years ago. I was working at this grocery store, and we had this big ass fucking security guard. Nigga was probably like 6'3", and he's stocky, a big fucking security guard. He was big as hell. I was doing some shit and getting some supplies from the back room of the store, and this damn Ishmaelite I was working with, he did something to his fucking finger, but I don't think he cut his finger off, but he cut his finger open, and he cut his finger open enough to where there's a good amount of blood, and the security guard once again is a dark skinned bald dude. He'll probably fold you in fucking half. And I never forgot that shit. The security guard walked up, he said, what was going on? He saw the dude was bleeding, and I think he went to go get like bandages and shit. And then this nigga said, seeing blood makes me sick. And once again, I'm not sure if the guy was ever, I'm damn sure a nigga was in the fucking military after hearing that shit. But he will whoop your ass, or at least he'll overwhelm you with strength because he's big as fuck. But that's a lot of these Jakes that's a lot of Jake. They're tough, but when it comes to seeing gore, seeing the nigga get his fucking guts ripped out, they can't handle. Do you have the stomach? They don't have the stomach. So once again, the level of violence that you niggas are about to experience is beyond what you can handle, beyond what your minds can take. Scriptures talk about how you're going to have people's hearts failing them for fear. Niggas are going to have heart attacks because the level of violence is going to be beyond what you've ever experienced, what you can take. You're not acclimated to it. You can get like niggas in the military, right? They get used to that shit. But it's a slow process. Well, yeah, I want to say somewhat of a slow process of them getting slowly acclimated to, the idea of taking someone's life or torturing a nigga. But with this, it's going to be suddenly upon people. They're not going to have any time to adjust. So there's a ton of, factors that go into this shit. But, when you talk about the spirit of the Lord, what? The Lord's going to put a heavy spirit on his men. Like what? At destruction thou shalt laugh. When you take into account how the destruction is going to come, because once again, it's going to come suddenly. So people are gonna start getting knocked off out of seemingly out of fucking nowhere. You know, one day martial law is gonna happen, the economy is gonna collapse, and then that's gonna be that. They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still destroying those that fear the Lord. And madmen. Well, shit. Yeah, there's this one Japanese animation called Hellsing Ultimate, and in the beginning of it, there are these Nazi fucking vampires that go. I think they're in London, and they go through slaughtering every fucking body. And like, since they're vampires, once again they have that bloodlust. That's really what came to mind when we know that madman sparing none, because once again Esau is going to satiate his lust on our people. Because not only does he want to shed blood, but he wants to shed our people's blood. But you think about the term bloodlust, it being aroused off of violence and kicking the shit out of people, shedding blood. That's the so-called white man. And obviously, something that feels good, you're more inclined to keep doing it. So if killing someone gives you that rush, that rouses you and makes you feel good, you're going to be more inclined to keep doing more of it. And that's what's going to happen. These niggas are waiting to do that. They're waiting to unleash the fucking Kraken. You got a lot of Edomites who are licking their chops at the idea of shooting themselves a nigga. And the average Jake can't fathom, how could you have so much hate for me? You don't even know me. That's another thing. They don't fucking care. They want to kill you and probably eat you. But that's this nigga who y'all think y'all can go up against. See, y'all will look at even an old man, he might fucking blow your damn wig back. Peel your damn cap off. But you got niggas ex-military that have been fucking planning for this shit for decades. Finish your waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as gold in the fire. Hear, O you my beloved, said the Lord, behold, the days of trouble are. Video cut off on me, probably going too long, but I'm just gonna end it right there. Hope it's helpful. So y'all praise this glory and others. Yahweh Shema Shah Bashim Gakdash. The Ron said others, possible teach great meals on learn to shoot. Shalom to hope like Israel, instruction, Ben, Great America.